Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to episode 86 of Relentless Talk Radio. Today, the food for thought topic is just so appropriate for me, and I think lots of you. I'm running a bit behind, so we're only going to have a couple minutes really to talk about this. But the topic is how sometimes you have to hop back to pivot forward. So I am going to let one of our guests know that we are running a little bit behind today. 2:50. Okay. All right. So now I can focus. So I don't know. It's been really a very tough time, I think, for a lot of people because nothing is going quite as planned. And just prior to getting on the radio, I got an email that was kind of about that. You know, just things aren't going as planned. And I've really been thinking about how sometimes you have to step back a bit to be able to go forward, right? So I thought of 10 things to kind of reframe this a little bit because I think there's lots of us that are having the same concern, right? So the first thing is that sometimes when things don't go your way, it's a blessing in disguise, all right? You just don't realize it at the time because we just think that things have to go the way we plan them to go, and if they don't, kind of like that country song, "Thank God for Unanswered Prayers." You know that song with I forget who sang it, but it's basically about a high school girlfriend, and the high school girlfriend is just so not the right person with them, and they're with their wife, and the wife is the right person. So sometimes you want things to go a certain way and they just don't, and it's really the best thing that ever happened to you. You know, have you ever had one of those things happen, whether it's with a person or a job or a thing? And so sometimes it's important to know that sometimes when you don't settle for plan A, you come out with a much better plan that you would never have thought of otherwise. I remember when I was first getting sober, someone said, you know, if I asked for what I deserved, I would have really shortchanged myself. And I think sometimes our limited beliefs in life can keep us shortchanging ourselves. So sometimes things having to take a step back is a blessing in disguise, right? So the second thing is everything in life is a lesson. Have you ever noticed that? That sometimes you need every single lesson to get smart enough to kind of go on to the lesson, to the plan that you were supposed to be doing. But you needed all those things that didn't go your way to learn a little bit more so you were more prepared for the thing ahead of you. So number 2 is everything in life is a lesson, whether it's a fail or a win or a sideways or a flat or, you know, COVID, it's all a lesson, right? Number 3 is resilience. You know, I think sometimes when things don't go as planned and we're forced to kind of figure out a workaround, we realize that, you know, resilience is only achieved through stress. You know, like a pearl only becomes a pearl when it's in a shell and it gets pressure, and that pressure causes a most amazing pearl to happen, right? A diamond becomes a diamond because it's carbon and it gets pressure underneath the earth, right? So sometimes we have to actually have pressure in order to get stronger, right? So the third reason why it's good to step backwards sometimes is it gives you an opportunity to get a little stronger. Now, the fourth reason is that, you know, sometimes rest and downtime is really important. You know, I've been really very aware lately about rest, and that resting is a very important thing to do so that you can regenerate. You know, taking a nap, taking a weekend off, you know, allowing yourself to regenerate, and, you know, maybe do a little adventure. My friend Jennifer Sievers went on an adventure when she got furloughed from her job, and she rode 8,000 miles across country. And it's just really an amazing thing when we see how sometimes a little rest is the best thing that you can have happen to you. And then number 5 is, you know, developing an unwavering passion for your why. You know, I've been revisiting my why lately and realizing that my why is still the same. It's been a little fine-tuned and a little drilled down, a little more specific, but getting really used to getting really committed to your why sometimes takes recommitting over and over again. And when you take a step back, sometimes that makes you recommit to your why in a way that you couldn't have before because it was too easy to create the why, right? So number 6 is that when you readjust, when you revisit your why, it makes you kind of readjust your vision a little bit. And so part of readjusting your vision is actually maybe potentially creating a new map. So one of my clients, our plan was to do a lot of big group events this year. And because the group events aren't possible because of COVID, when we made the arrangement kind of in the beginning of the year, we were thinking, this COVID thing's going to be different, right? And we're going to be able to move forward. Is in a way that, it's soon, right? We just didn't think that I wouldn't be riding my motorcycle to Sturgis, So sometimes when you have to adjust your vision, you have to adjust the map and how you're going to get there. And also kind of in a Six Sigma way, if you're kind of taking a look at your doing something, analyzing it, adjusting it, doing something, analyzing, adjusting it, the more you do that, the better your process is going to get. And Matt Numrick, who's coming on next, I hope I'm saying your name right, Matt, because we have an issue with names today, but Matt says, rejection is a projection. Sometimes when we experience setbacks, they are for a good reason. Great advice on resting too, he said. And I absolutely agree. And it's interesting, the word projection, I'm going to address a little bit later in this conversation. So I really love that you said that, Matt. So the other thing is, so let's see, adjust your vision. So 7 is saying no to the good so you can have the great. Like, sometimes we will settle for, okay, everything's okay. Like, I don't mind living in this neighborhood. It's all right. I don't mind driving that car. It's okay. Like, this person, there's a couple disconnects, but it's okay. It's all right. Well, life really isn't meant to be okay. Like, if you've got a big vision, being great is what you want. So sometimes you have to say no to the good to get the great. And that means being patient. So when you take a step back, it lets you to reevaluate your why, your vision, and also say, you know what, it makes you be patient. And I think that this COVID thing has forced me to be patient in a way that I wouldn't have necessarily been. And it's really important. So number 8 is you get to focus on the right thing, okay? So sometimes what happens is we are so caught up in the process of doing that we stop thinking about what the next right thing is. What is the next right thing to do? And focus is really a muscle. I mean, you have to practice focusing in order to get stronger. And when you take a step back, it helps you to refocus. You gain that, okay, here's my mission, here's my vision, here's my why, and I'm drilling down so I can focus on what's really important. And figuring out what the next right thing is a practice that you can practice with trying to find focus, right? So number 9, of course, I reordered these on my notes because it kind of goes in an order, right? Once you've decided the next right thing, you get to develop fearlessness. So part of being fearless is asking if your life depended upon it. And if you're a salesperson, sometimes you get a little wishy-washy about asking, but when your ass is on fire and you're fearless, you're asking with much more direction and much more oomph. You're not afraid to ask because what do you got to lose? When you have to take a step back and take a hit the way many of us have in COVID, you're not afraid to ask for the impossible because what's the worst that's going to happen? No. And no means next, right? So when you're fearless, you can ask for the sale, you can ask for the deal, you can ask for the opportunity. And if you get no, it's no big deal because you're already taking a step back. So it reframes the way in which you move forward. Now, number 10 is that you get to grow your tribe. When you take a step back and you slow down, excuse me, you get to decide who gets to stay and who gets to go, So the positive people who lift you up, who inspire you, who are bringing good gas to the conversation, who are definitely motoring you in the right direction, those are the people that get to stay. But when you take a step back, you get to kind of see who your friends are, who's really with you for the right reasons, right? It's really easy to be with somebody or be in a business or be in a situation or be with a club when everything is rosy. But when things get difficult, that's when you really find out who's in your corner, who's really a keeper. And so sometimes you have to be wary of the people in your life that are pulling you down, that are saying negative things to you, that are being unkind, that are being just not supportive, that have that kind of sarcastic sense of humor with you. But of course you're behind right now, or of course you're having to step back, or when you're stopped and you're stalled, you really get to identify those toxic people in your life that need to go. And so there's motors, controls, and anchors in your life. And motors are the people that are going to move you forward, and controls are the people that keep you on track. They're your constants. They're your best friend that when you call at your worst and you tell her what's going on or him what's going on, they lift you up and inspire you, and they move you forward, and they keep you on track, and they remind you of your why and your purpose, and they help you to discover what the next right thing is. And then there's anchors, people that are just dragging you down. They just need to go, because life is too short to be recovering from toxic people in your life. So sometimes when you have a step back and you have a stall, or you have a humiliation, or you get dinged, knocked on your ass, and you're able to kind of really clearly see the people who are in your corner and the toxic people that you need to go, that really is, back to number one, a blessing in disguise. So in closing, sometimes taking a step back, okay, and not traveling away from your purpose, which is part of what I wanted to talk about today too. I'm thinking about basketball. Okay, so basketball, when you're pivoting, you have one foot center and you have one foot that pivots around. You get that one foot which is focused on the floor, and you're not traveling, you're not taking a step. But in basketball, you actually can hop and pivot, and that's not called a travel. It's called a hop step. And if you hop backwards and pivot, you can still keep going in the right direction. And so sometimes you got to move backwards to go forward and pivot with purpose. So there's my 10 things. So one is that sometimes stepping backwards is a blessing in disguise. 2 is everything in life is a lesson. 3 is that resilience is a muscle that you need to practice and use. Number 4 is that rest and downtime is good. Number 5 is that you have to develop unwavering passion for your why, and stepping back allows you to do that. Number 6 is it's a blessing to readjust your vision. It's a really good thing to have a readjustment of your vision and a repurposing of direction. Number 7 is saying no to the good so you can get to the great. Number 8 is focus on the next right thing, and focusing is a muscle. Number 9 is develop fearlessness and ask without any fear of the no. No means next. And 10 means grow your tribe with positive people and just eject anything negative from your life so you can move forward. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I did it in 12 minutes, so I'm going to go get Matt. He's the owner of, you know what? I'm going to have him actually tell me the name of his business in a way that's, I'm reading it off the page and it's probably not right. So Matt is a self-defense artist, and the practice that he does is geez, I love menopause brain. He'll tell you more about it. It's a self-defense practice that is being taught here in Anthem, and it's just a very different and very cool way of learning self-defense, and it's a great way to exercise. So we're going to talk with Matt in a minute, and then after that, we're talking with Gail Friend. Gail has been invited to Italy, to Milan this year to focus on her dresses. She has 10 new pieces that she's going to be showing, and we'll be talking about that and lots of different things. And I'll be asking Matt and Gail how they're pivoting with purpose. So running behind today, I'm going to run and get Matt, and I'll see you guys in a minute.